1992, as a few computer geeks at the University of Cambridge beavered away at the cutting edge of tech, one piece of equipment was indispensable: a coffee pot in a place called the Trojan Room. As many of the researchers worked in different labs and on different floors, they would often turn up to get some coffee from the pot, only to find it had all been drunk. The world's first ever webcam solved this, closely monitoring the amount of coffee left in a coffee pot, and the webcam revolution was born. Fast forward to 2019, and the global pandemic changed the way millions of people worked forever. Not only do we have thousands of video calls every second, but we've also seen a shift towards things like video CVs as well. All in all, having a decent webcam today is no longer a nice to have, it's pretty much essential. And if you're fed up with your built-in webcam always being at the wrong angle, or if you're bored of waiting around for Apple to finally add a high-def video camera to their MacBooks, or the Pro Display XDR for that matter, a $5,000 screen that doesn't even ship with a camera, then this video could be for you.
Are you not entertained?
Enter the Opal C1, a 4K webcam with a point to prove. The story behind Opal is interesting to say the least. It's backed by some seriously heavy hitters like MKBHD, Alexis Ohanian, the co-founder of Reddit, and Mike Krieger, the co-founder of Instagram. It's also been associated with Toby Lutt, the Shopify CEO, Chad Hurley, the YouTube co-founder, as well as Frodo Baggins, aka Elijah Wood. It's got some serious pedigree behind it, and they're all big believers that the 4K webcam world is just around the corner. So I was really excited when Opal reached out to me to ask me to review it. If you've been watching my videos for a while now, then you'll know how important the design of a product is to me, and the Opal C1 is no exception. Everything about it, from the unboxing to the device itself, is just so clean and well designed. In fact, it was designed by Kenny Sweet, the same designer who was behind the Beats headphones, and that really shows. The webcam itself is made from anodized aluminium. It comes in black or white, and both of these have a matte finish embedded with a subtle textured effect on them, which makes it look like the camera is constantly perspiring. On the back, there's a heatsink which doubles as a grip that I can only assume was influenced by some of the original lightsaber designs. You've also got an extra noise cancelling microphone, as well as the USB-C power connector. And then on the front, there's the lens itself, which has a magnetic lens cover attachment, which is a really nice touch. The camera itself is a 4K Sony sensor with an f1.8 3.3mm lens, and on the right we have the stereo microphone array, which has all the characteristics of a classic D2Rams design with these uniform machined holes. And there's also a small LED indicator on the top left hand corner to tell you when the camera is on. There's also a rubberized pad all the way across the bottom to help keep the webcam secure when it's sitting on a screen, and of course there's the thread mounting as well. The overall size of the C1 is really slim and low profile, and that's a key thing for me when looking for webcams. You want it to be as unobtrusive as possible when it's attached to your screen, especially if you're carrying this around with you. In fact, when you compare the C1 to two other webcams in a similar price bracket, the Logitech Brio 4K and the Insta360 Link, you start to see how compact the C1 really is. One of the things that really put me off the Insta360 is its height. Despite it being a really high quality webcam, it's just a non-starter for me. The whole design of the C1 actually just reminds me of some of those classic DuPont lighters, or the man with the golden gun, with that compact and elegant form. So let's talk about setting this up. Included within the webcam is a mounting bracket that can hang onto a monitor or a MacBook lid, but this webcam itself can also attach to a tripod mount. It also includes a handy tightening tool, which is great. I found it fits pretty securely on my MacBook screen, and it's versatile enough to also fit on my LG 5K monitor, but it definitely felt less secure on here. When it comes to setting up the software, that's very quick to download and install, although it's worth noting that at the moment the C1 will only work with Mac, and in theory support for iPad is coming soon with the release of iOS 17. So let's talk about the main event, which is image quality. This is what the C1 looks like in its native 4K setup, which is pretty impressive. Now obviously at the moment, the majority of video conferencing platforms don't support native 4K. So you can see here in comparison of the 1080p C1 versus the MacBook Pro camera and the Logitech Brio. What's interesting about this is that the Opal C1 blows the Logitech camera out of the water in terms of quality, and when you look at the comparison to the MacBook definitely performs better than the Logitech camera, but it's still lacking some of that sharpness and detail which is present in the C1 footage. Something to note as well is that the colours on the C1 also look more accurate, whereas there's way too much contrast and darkness on Logitech, and the MacBook camera has almost a lack of contrast and is ever so slightly blown out. When it comes to audio, here's what the C1 sounds like. And this is how it sounds on my MacBook Pro for comparison. There's definitely a noticeable difference. The MacBook Pro seems to have better noise cancellation, whilst the Opal C1 seems to have clearer and stronger audio, but less superior noise cancellation. And this is all supported by a neat software package, which seems to have been trimmed down since its previous releases. There's an autofocus feature which seems to work quite well, but this can also be turned off and you can focus manually if needed. It's also nice to be able to adjust the bokeh and the ability to zoom in and out as well. One thing I'll say is that I found the software to be a bit jittery in places, so that's definitely something for Opal to improve. All in all, I think the C1 is a cracking webcam. The question of whether you need a 4K webcam or not will come down to you. But if you are in the market for a decent webcam, then I think right now this is probably the one to get. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go and check it out. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.